Joseph Jaffe, just to run you through if you haven't, if you're not that familiar with who he is, he's a sought-after consultant, president of Crayon, which is a new marketing company, author and producer of a popular blog and a podcast series, Jaffe Juice. I mean, it's podcasting, word of mouth. Someone's talking, you might pass it on to somebody else. Does he consider this? I'm very interested. Jaffe is also author of Life After the 30-Second Spot. Hang on, is there? Oh, in radio there's not. Energise your brand with a bold mix of alternatives to traditional advertising, and also join the conversation, how to engage marketing wearing consumers with the power of community dialogue and partnership. Word of mouth by itself implies some kind of intimacy as well, doesn't it? I mean, somebody saying something to you, for you to believe or trust something that somebody's saying to you, it does imply some intimacy, that you know the person and that you trust in them. And I don't mean that they have to really get that close to your ear, but I'm just saying that. 2008, Jaffe spoke at a number of conferences and events, including the DMA CEO Leadership Forum, the Association of Canadian Advertisers Annual Conference, and the DMA 08 Conference and Exhibition. So, 15 minutes with Joseph. We're also very lucky to have his time. He's in the Bahamas. Pol Pot's trial. He's on holiday, actually. We didn't know he was going to, well, he didn't know he was going to be on holiday when he gave up his time at the time, so he's giving up some holiday time at the moment. So
it's unbelievable outside, and God knows why I'm inside, I guess, because of my love of the food.
We very much appreciate the fact that you're on holiday and you've given up some time for us. So we will sit back and gleefully listen to you, and then have a question and answer period after that. The floor is yours, sir.
Absolutely, and I'm going to make sure as well, I think you have about 15 minutes, so I'm going to make sure as well that I kind of stick to the time and then leave some time for Q&A. So, first of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity. It's a pleasure to be talking to, I guess, the creme de la creme of the New Zealand marketing community. I've actually been in Australia for the past 2 years, and I'm coming back to Australia this year to talk to marketing people. And I hope you guys will invite me at some point so we can talk about, as you can hear from my accent, South Africa's superiority in both cricket and rugby, or at least our superiority over the Australians. How about we agree on that? Does that make sense? a couple of years. Well, you know what? It's interesting. I thought that I'd actually start off by talking to you about a few things that I've just heard from Andy. Because part of what conversational marketing is about listening. And about being able to join a conversation already in progress. Part of the theme of my book, Join the Conversation, is this idea that there are millions of conversations going on around us right this very second. Isn't it time we join this? Isn't it time we realize as marketers that we're not the Wizard of Oz? We don't... whether Oz is OZ or AUS. We don't sit in our ivory towers and decree and tell people what to buy and where to buy and when to buy and how much to buy. I mean, the fact is, people don't need us anymore like they used to need us, so to speak. They have themselves, meaning they have Google. They know how to be able to search for something and pull information and go seek it out if they have a desire or if they have an unmet need. And they have each other. And that's how I talk about social networks. This idea that we're connected to like-minded people. I have a marketing podcast, and I regularly correspond with someone by the name, I think you know of him, Simon Young in New Zealand. He sends in audio comments all the time. Jake Pierce is another person. Met them all through this online conversation. Even though New Zealand might be halfway around the world, at least, for me as an ex-South African living in the US now, we're all connected. We're all connected by like-minded passion. And that's really what this idea of community and social networks are about. By the way, I have 2,500 fake friends on Facebook. So, if any of you are trying to get any messages out, try me on for size. But here's the thing about 2,500 fake friends. That doesn't make me important. It actually makes me less important than many of you. Because I don't know who any of them are, because they're my fake friends. So I'm like a classic marketer. I've gone out and tried to surround myself with quantity above quality. Part of this message about joining the conversation is the fact that it's about quality, not quantity. It is about being able to trust and earn credibility And the fact is that the advertising and profession in particular is the second least trusted profession, second only to used car salesmen. We're actually, believe it or not, trusted less than politicians and lawyers. So with all that stuff going on in Illinois, where Andy Cernovitz is from, they still trust those blokes more than they trust us. That's a problem. We need to be able to figure out how to regain the trust of our consumers. And also recognize that they're getting on with their lives without us. They're almost training themselves to live in a world without marketing. You know, last night, I was sitting here on my vacation with the kids and my wife. We watched American Idol. And my wife said to me, American Idol now is in, I think, its 8th season. She said, this is the first episode of American Idol we've ever watched where I've actually seen the commercials. Because at home we have a TiVo, a personal video recorder. It's the first time she's ever actually watched American Idol live. And this morning I said to her, okay, here's an exercise. Can you name me as many commercials as you possibly can from last night's 2-hour show? She could not name one commercial. Not one commercial. So I wanted to address a couple of things that relate to you and to your environment and your context. I know ROI is a big point, and I would love to, I'm not going to address this now, but in the Q&A, build on what Andy Cernovitz said in terms of what metrics and how to understand the impact of conversation, how to quantify and qualify the impact of conversation. The other thing as well, I think that's important, is this idea about the 30-second spot or the television commercial. Look, my first book was called Life After the 30-Second Spot, and my thesis or my hypothesis was that the 30-second spot is either dead, or in its existing form, is either dead, dying, or it's outlived its usefulness. And the operative phrase there is in its existing form. As long as it continues to be linear and predictable and force-feed mediocre creative down the throats of our consumers that are skeptical, jaded, and resistant to our advertising, the 30-second spot is going to become a thing of the past like the dodo. However, did I say in any way, shape, or form that television advertising is going to go away? No. Did I say that video advertising is going to go away? No. And what about a 300-second commercial or a 30,000-second commercial? What if you are marketing BMW and you know you have those enthusiasts out there and the influencers out there? Why wouldn't you want to give them 25 minutes or 3 minutes and 14 seconds? I'm sure many of you have seen Dove's campaign for Real Beauty, Evolution, some of the incredible stuff that's come out of Unilever. If you look at Dove's campaign for Real Beauty, that particular spot that won all the awards at Cannes is 1 minute and 22 seconds. That would never fit in the predictable linear form of a television commercial. But here's the thing. Television commercials may not go away, and that's okay. The fact is, we need to think about different ways to surprise and delight and involve consumers in our business, and that business is obviously selling stuff. The other point is that everything can be a conversation starter. Dove's campaign for Real Beauty was a conversation starter. It basically took every single piece of beauty and health propaganda that has been forced down the throats of consumers, and it said all of this is quite frankly bullshit. All of this stuff, retouching and Photoshop and telling our 8-year-old daughters that are a little bit overweight that they're ugly and that they're not as good as everybody else, that stuff is not real. What is real is about recognizing that beauty is from within and not the warped perception from the outside. That was a conversation starter. That conversation could start in a 10-second commercial, it could start in a print ad, it could start on a blog. So I wanted to talk about that as well.